Hello, everyone. This is Morphin Network. It's me, Dagger Boy, aka Ryan. This is Clement, aka Red Star. And we have our special guest, Frierson. If you know him, might know him as the voice of Frax from Power Rangers Time Force, aka my favorite season. So, welcome, Eddie.
And it's Frierson, which is an easy mispronunciation. Everyone says, well, no, it's totally cool. That's how I know the difference between a telemarketer and somebody who knows me. It's all good. But you're not a telemarketer. You're like the man. So now you know.
We have someone saying hello. Neil Johnson says hello.
Hello.
Hello. All right, let's get started with this interview. So, Eddie, tell everyone about yourself.
Let's see. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, came out to California to play ball at UCLA. I'm a baseball guy. And while doing that, got my degree in theater and stayed. And was, as a kid, basically, was doing so much theater and was in a play once, which was honestly the only bad play I was ever in, like with bad reviews. But the people that were in it were the most wonderful people I ever met, one of which was Laura Cody, who is a big anime voice. And she one night asked me if I wanted to come see what she did, because I knew she did cartoon voices, and she said, I'm dubbing a Japanese cartoon into English at 2 a.m. And I said, 2 a.m.? And she said, yeah, it's a low budget thing, and the companies that can't afford it, they get the cheaper hours overnight. So it's like, sure, cool. So I went, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, the guy who was directing the session, Ed Menix, it's total fluke. Sometimes this just happens. And he said, hey, you do this, don't you? And it's like, yeah, dude, of course I do. And he's like, what are you doing at 9 o'clock? I went, sleeping? It's like, well, because I got an Italian movie I'm dubbing into English, and the actor bailed on me last night. I'm eating up the studio time. You'd be right for it. You want to just go get breakfast and meet me? It's about 3 blocks down on Sunset. It's like, sure. And I did that, and it was supposed to take 6 hours, and it only took 45 minutes because apparently I was good at it. I just kind of got right away that when you're dubbing stuff, the only time the mouth closes is on an M, a B, or a P. So look for those words in the script and make sure you hit the closed mouths on those consonants. So he called then the next week, hired me for something else. 2 weeks later, somebody else called me and said, Ed Menix said to give you a call. And I haven't stopped working since. And that's how I met the whole stable of actors that eventually became all the voiceover people for Power Rangers too. So I was asked many times, I was even telling you guys a little while ago, to do monster voices and different things, all that stuff that is all through the early days of Power Rangers especially. And then when Time Force came along, Scotty Pagter called me up and said, we've got this robot, I think, why, you want to come up and do a robot? I got a couple episodes on Time Force. It's like, sure. And that was Frax. And I can still remember we were playing around with what voice to do and, tried a bunch of different stuff. And then all of a sudden settled on this master because he had that kind of long, weird looking face and stuff. And who we didn't know at the time that he was one of the main characters of the whole thing, and certainly didn't know that by the end of the season that he would have this big catharsis and it would be the main event for Time Force. So it was really one of those things where it was just a job and then became one of the most fun things I ever did. It was just kind of a hoot.
So Clement has the next question.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Frierson, or Eddie Frierson. My second question is, how did you get started with voice acting?
Well, that was it. That's what I was just kind of saying. I was doing a play, and Laura Cody, if you look her up or Google, she's got a million credits. And she just asked me if I wanted to go see what she did one day, because backstage in this very bad production of Anna Karenina, where I was Vronsky, we would do baby talk all the time because she was really funny. Yeah, so we just did stupid stuff that, like, when you're in a room of voice actors, they can annoy you with stupid talk. So it was just one of those things where I knew she did cartoons, and she just asked me if I wanted to do it. And by the end of that session, the guy who was working asked me if I did it, and I said yeah, which of course I had never done anything, and he hired me, and I just have never stopped working from that. It's kind of one of those lucky stories, because I was in that horrible play with this wonderful person, Laura Cody. I've made my living as an actor for the last 30 years, and it's complete fluke and lucky, and I realize that I'm lucky. So, there's other ways to do it, of, banging down doors and sending in tapes and trying to audition and all that stuff. And I was doing all those things, but how I got into voice acting was a total fluke, and I'm really lucky. So.
Mm.
So my next question is, how's the audition process like for Power Rangers? I mean, did you audition?
I never did. So when it first started, there were, I assume there were, but maybe not. I mean, it could have just been that Kerrigan Mahan got called to do Goldar because that's who he is, Kerry's a dear friend of mine. In fact, he directed the one-man show that I do called Maddie, An Evening with Christy Mathewson, which I'm actually doing. If anybody out there is in northeastern Pennsylvania, I'll be doing it next weekend in Factoryville, Pennsylvania, outside of Scranton. But he may have just been asked to do that. Barbara Goodson might have just been asked to do. I really don't know. I know that I was just called up and said, hey, we got this robot, a couple episodes for you to do this robot. You want to come up and do it? And it was just a job. And it's like, sure. So sometimes there are auditions, and more so now, where like, for instance, you'll get an email from your agent that says, there's this game, and here's the picture of the character, and can you lay down these lines? And so you'll create, it's like, well, he looks like he talks like this because he's got a jug in his sink, so you just make up a voice for whatever it is, and you send that in, and you either get it or you don't. In the old days, you used to always have to go into Voicecaster or Kalmanson or a number of different audition houses, or at your agent's place, they would have a recording studio to lay down stuff to send in. But now, because equipment is accessible, it's relatively affordable, and you can create a pretty good home setup. Most of the stuff you do out of your own home if you're a voice actor. And if you're an actor who's just trying to start out and trying to get into voice acting, YouTube, creating a home sound studio for voiceover and that sort of thing. There's cheap ways to, like, let's say if you have a walk-in closet, if you're lucky enough to have a walk-in closet, you can deaden that space to where it's perfect. But if you really just have an apartment and there's street noise outside, or you're going and recording in your bathroom and you can hear all the echoes bouncing off the walls, you're better off not doing it, because you're instantly tagged as an amateur. So if somebody is out there watching and would like to get into voice acting, I would suggest, before spending money and before doing stuff, just look and see how cheaply you can do it. You can get a great mic and a box they'll plug into your computer, where you can change the levels and work with different stuff for probably under $200. And then you can get, instead of getting foam at a place like Guitar Center, which for one square is $50, you can go to some place like Walmart and get the foam mattress tops for a bed, and just get the thin stuff, so you can get like yards of it for $50 instead of just one square, and you can deaden the walls and the ceiling with stuff like that. There's ways to do it cheap, or if you do have the walk-in closet, just a ton of clothes will do the deadening the same way as creating all that stuff. You can also make a box with foam and have the microphone inside that deadens the sound around it. You just got to be sure that when you listen back to something that you do, you don't hear any reverb coming off of the room, or bounce off the walls, or something that sounds like you're not totally into the the inner sanctum.
All right, Clement has the next question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the long-winded answers. I hope if they're getting too long, you guys type in and say, "Hey, shut up, Frax, give me the voice."
It's interesting. I like it. He's enjoying it because this guy's a voice actor. Right, Clement. Next question.
Yeah, and I went to Kalmison. I'm starting Kalmison this next week.
I'm sorry. One more time.
I'm taking Kalmison in Kalmison class.
You're doing classes at Kalmison? Yeah. So is Kathy running them, or Harvey, or do you know?
I think it's still Kathy, and
yeah, they're the actual Kalminsons, but I don't know. I think Harvey may have retired. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I haven't.
It doesn't matter, but it's a cool place. So you've been going over there?
Yes. Yeah. And my question is, so what's your experience like in Time Force? Like, what was the experience like doing the show?
You know what was really great? So I was always with Bri and Neal. So Circuit and what was Neal's character's? He was the Bluto. Yeah, okay. So we were always kind of called in at the same time. So it was the three of us just having a party together. Honestly, it was just fun. It was always great to, because you see each other at different jobs sometimes, but most of the time you're working by yourself doing the voice stuff. And in fact, Bri she's going to be at the convention, and we're going to share a table. She asked me, she lives up here near me, and she says, "Hey, can we share a table?" It's like, heck yeah! Are you kidding me? It was just us. And it's really funny because the actors that were in it, it was all of their almost first jobs too, and like Erin, I can still remember. So her coming in, here's this young cute gal. It's like, what do you guys do? What are you doing? It's like, well, we're doing all of the voice, and we're doing the right. No way! Can I sit in? Can I watch? and so so it always seemed like she was coming in to do some of her lines almost all the time when we were just finishing up. So it was really fun. The first one of these conventions that I did, which is now about 5-6 years ago, I can't remember when, in Pasadena, and why would she remember? But I can remember her sitting up on a stage waiting for a panel to go, and she goes, "No way!" Comes running across the stage and jumps up and gives me a big old hug. And all these people are sitting out there going, "Who is this guy?" Because they don't know that I'm Frax. I'm just sitting up on the table by myself, waiting for the thing. So anyway, but I can say that like, so we really only kind of knew her in passing, but I've gotten to know through the convention, especially 2 years ago, the whole cast is just a great group of people, and they're really tight, and they stay in touch. And in fact, the show that I'm doing next week, after the last convention, I was doing it in Orange County, and Debbie, the Yellow Ranger, what's her ranger name? I don't know.
Katie.
Yeah. So, and she came, and it came to the show and brought her kid, and it was so much fun. Just good people, all of them, everybody in the show.
Awesome. All right. So my next question for you is, I was open. How did you come up with Frax Voice?
Again, it was really just experimenting, doing a thing, because with Scotty Pagter, we were just sitting in the studio, and it's like, because at first it's like, am I a robot? So it kind of started as that before it got into the whole nasal thing that eventually became him. It was and if you watch the early episodes, there's not a lot of stuff for Frax to do. So when he talks, it is really robotic and yes, master, kind of thing. And then as he got added more and more onto it, it was crazy because, then he's got more lines. So you're getting more and more excited. Oh, my goodness, man, and all this stuff that was going on. But the thing I can still remember, it was a rainy day. We were recording the first time that his eyes popped out. That, okay, right, that thing. And the eyes popping out, it was not it wasn't in the cue sheets to do anything there. It was like the line, and then there was like in the soundtrack, it was just like a little sound effect when his eyes popped up. And since it was pouring rain and we knew that there was going to be traffic anyway, I say, hey, can I try something? And so whatever the line was, I can't even remember what it was, but then the eyes popped out and I went, right? And we all lost it. We fell on the floor laughing because it was really funny. And so and they liked it, and so they kept it in there. Little did we know that was going to be something that Frax did a lot of. So every time it happened, so it just became a thing, and so that wasn't intentional. It just kind of built on the Frax voice, all that stuff, which then caused me to do more of this kind of, the up and down stuff, as opposed to if you go back and watch the season, he really is a robot at the very beginning of all of it, and he sort of gradually becomes somebody who actually has that Dr. Ferris inside, which again was something that as the season was progressing, it's like, hold it, there's more to this guy. We didn't know. We didn't have all the scripts and episodes down the road. We didn't know where it was going. So in a way, it was better because then the Ferris reveal was a lot more what, and then his whole the whole breakdown and I love that Frax's Fury stuff and there, when he's locked up and all that stuff. But it's kind of sad that they killed him. I would love that. I wish that suit existed somewhere, because wouldn't it be cool to have the Frax costume like stuffed and sticking in the corner of a room somewhere?
Cool. I heard that the Japanese they still have it in storage. So
do they?
Yeah.
And so it must have been the dummy that they melted, but yeah, it was. I wish they had made more than just that. The little action figure, and you can't. I have one that someone gave me years ago that has all the little pieces, but even if you go to a show now, they're not available, or if you look on eBay or something, they're missing the little plastic piece that just barely sticks into the head. But it's a cool action figure, I think. Frax is cool. So
it was. I cried when he died, but
yeah.
I did. I was a kid.
I cried too, because he's like, he should have been a recurring character in every season, right?
Yeah, so sorry for the guy, dude. He was innocent. But okay, so Clement has the next question.
So my question is that can as a fellow voice actor, can you do some lines of Frax voice for the viewers?
Sure. Can you want to give me the line and then I'll do it?
Let's see.
Because one of my favorites, of course, is "Oops." But that's one of my favorites. I'm just trying to think because they don't come off of the top of my head. It's been 16 years, or 17 now. So, but yes, master. Oh, Nadira, no! I can't. I'm trying to think what are the famous lines that people always ask me at the conventions and stuff. I'm trying to think. It's. Just if you feed me something, I'll just say something like Oh, you remember
that part when he talked to Nadira, he was captured, walking the cell?
Yeah, but I don't remember the exact lines. So, but it's funny. I can just do the whole rest of this interview as Frax if you would like, but That's kind of strange in a weird way, isn't it? So, it's like, where does this thing come out of my face? It's just a stupid voice.
Oh, well, actually, hold up. There's one request right now, and it does relate to this question. Ken Brown says, "Can you say I think I left the teapot on?"
What? Oh, I think I left the teapot on. That's one. Let me go. Rancic. Too funny. Yeah. Yeah, just somebody needs to like Google famous Frax lines and then just tell me what to say. We'll make ringtones out of them. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, like, you have reached the voicemail of my good friend.
Or you try to stop me, Power Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
You could say, try to stop me, Power Rangers.
Try to stop me, Power Rangers!
Oh, here it is. It's Nadira, you could break the circle or chain of circles like that.
Nadira, you could break the chain of the circle!
Oh, you're going. That's it. Oh my god. Okay, just fanboyed. But anyway, all right. Let's see. I think
it's nice to bring such joy to you guys. I gotta tell you.
I know. I was like what, 10 years old when they came out. So I'm 23 now. So.
Well, gosh. Well, and I was only 14. So hey.
Damn. All right. Oh, so these are fun questions now. Do you have a favorite movie?
Well, it's an obvious one, but it's always been my favorite. It's a Wonderful Life. It's cliche, but it really is. The no man is a failure who has friends. It's just, and you don't realize how many lives you touch in your own. So whenever you're feeling despair or depressed, it's just such a great message. So I love that. In fact, I love all the old Frank Capra movies. I can remember once I went to a revival house in LA. This is like right before videos just took off. So they had theaters all over town in Los Angeles, literally had calendars for the month, and every night there were different old movies. So stuff that you had never seen before. You'd go and you'd see it on the big screen like it was supposed to be. And I went. It was, Frank Capra. It's like I didn't know from Diddley Squad. I'm still like a student at UCLA, and the first movie was It Happened One Night, and I went, "Wow, that's the best movie I've ever seen." And then the second one was a triple feature. Second one was Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I went, "Oh my gosh, that's the best movie I've ever seen." And then the third one was It's a Wonderful Life, and I went, "No, that's the best movie I've ever seen." So I love those. When I was a kid, I liked Ben-Hur. I don't know why. But now the first movie that I ever worked on was Lucas, so that's kind of close to my heart, even though it's just a silly coming of age movie. And the one project that I ever worked on where I really felt like it wouldn't be the same if I hadn't was Moneyball. So I love the movie Moneyball, and since I'm a baseball guy, that's near and dear to me too. So if you guys ever watch that and you hear the guy on the radio when Brad Pitt's in the car going, you know what? Yeah, it's like we're a farm system for the New York Yankees. There's a lot of me all through that. So it's not the same as being Frax, but
anyway, Clement, ask the next fun question.
Well, another fan question, like, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food? Now, this is going to be a weird one for you. Yellow summer squash and onions.
Yellow
yeah. Totally weird. Favorite food. Because I grew up in Tennessee, and, yellow summer squash was just one of those things, and my mom would, cut it up and just do it in a pan on the stove with salt and pepper and onions, and I just loved it. And then there was also the version that was church lady casserole, I called it, where it was put in a dish and baked, and yeah. So it's weird. I know, that's my favorite food.
It's almost close to ratatouille. That's actually amazing.
Well,
Wait.
and it's the same color as Frax, so hey, maybe that's it. It's
So-
Frax colored squash.
So one of our members who can be here says hello, Genesis. She's actually your biggest fan.
Excellent.
She loves Frax. I'm serious. She loves Frax. I don't know, like she's a diehard.
I
Wow,
do too.
that-
Frax is cool.
Wow, that sounds yummy. Oh, the food comment.
Yeah. So it's real simple. You just a little bit of a little bit of olive oil and the squash and the onion, salt and pepper. Boom. It'll change your life.
Imagine Max were to cook the summer squash with his
Yes.
video. Like,
Okay.
this is how you make it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's like,
Let's see. I know I don't eat food, but this is so beautiful. Let me get a little oil, and I'll get a little salt and a little pepper. Oh, this is just like Rancic's potion. Oh, it's Rancic's potion in a solid form.
Oh,
I hope I didn't look too stupid doing that.
No.
The things you guys asked me to do. I don't know.
You made a lot of people happy right now. So you like,
I probably have friends from high school watching this right now going, what happened to you, Frierson?
Genesis says yes. She says thank you for that. Andrew says I love tuppers, and then Janigan, love you Frax, and I'll try that then. Oh, the squash.
Excellent. Okay, cool. It's healthy too.
All right, now we have one more fun question. Okay, favorite place in the world.
My favorite place in the world?
Yeah.
Now, again, this is going to be one that'll seem out of the blue, but it's not really. It would be the borough of Factoryville, Pennsylvania, and that's where I'm going next weekend. And that's because that was the birthplace of the old ball player Christy Mathewson, whom I do a one-person play as. I still get asked to do it. Go figure. This play that was directed by Kerrigan Mahan, who is Goldar, as many of you know, and was a huge critical success when we did it in Times Square, New York. And when I was researching to originally write that play, it took me to Factoryville and his birthplace, and this little tiny town of not many people adopted me, and it's been a second home ever since in a beautiful part of the rolling hills in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I can't wait to be there next weekend to see everybody. I could care less about performing. That's fun, too. I'll be doing the show next Saturday at 1 o'clock there at Keystone College. But it's just one of my favorite places on the planet. It's green and beautiful and lovely. Cooperstown, New York is a gorgeous place in the world. And then where I used to live, right down on the bike path on the beach in Santa Monica, California. Beautiful little place, my 10 by 12 room, the Sandy Bay House. That's my other favorite place on the planet. So,
wow.
But I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's a pretty good slice of heaven on earth as well.
Wow, awesome. All right, now we're going to go fan questions. We'll do some at a time. Neil Johnson, the best and worst of Time Force.
The best and worst of Time Force?
Maybe he's asking moment.
Well, that's tough because for me there were no worst moments, because I'm sure that like the live cast that weren't the voice actors probably have a lot of worst moments where there were costume malfunctions or any number of things that could have gone wrong. For us, there were no worst times, if that makes any sense. And honestly, I think the best time was that day that we came up with Frax's eyes popping out and that silly maniacal laugh, because literally all of us were on the floor laughing, rolling around. I mean, we were literally on the floor laughing. So that was probably the best moment in the sound studio for me. But bad moments, I don't think I have any.
I see. Ken Brown says, "Hey Eddie."
Hey, how are you?
And then Ken Brown says, "Did you and Kerrigan joke about voicing gold characters?" Oh yeah, you are.
Well, Ken Brown, actually we don't, because Kerrigan always wins anything. No, he's He's so fun. I mean, I can't do Carrie. I do like a bad caricature of him. Here is a guy who, when you meet him, you know, because he kind of puts on this thing where he's the biggest puppy dog on the planet. He is just the sweetest guy, in my opinion. And I love him to tears. It's funny, I have not seen him face to face for probably about 1.5 years. But last fall I was in Florida doing my show that Carrie directed, the Maddie show that I'm doing next week, and they live streamed it from the venue, and he watched it. And I got into the dressing room during the intermission, and my phone was blowing up with notes like, "Slow down, you're a train wreck. Ooh, that part was beautiful. Oh yes, oh yeah." It was. He's a crack up. So we don't joke about old voices, but we do talk about old times a lot. Because they weren't really that far ago. They were far ago. But yeah, I just like, we don't talk much about voices. We just talk about life.
Awesome. So our member, Jen, asked, you're a super fan, how's it like working with Rancic? You spelled Rancic wrong, Jen.
Well, Jen, hey, here's a fun thing. I never worked with Rancic, but 2 years ago at the convention in Pasadena, got to know him pretty well because he was just a couple of tables over from me, and we're doing the jokes of "Hello, master! Hello, you stupid!" and it was really fun. And then doing the panels together and talking, and in fact, I've got the group photo right here that I should show you guys that we all. Yeah, I'm gonna walk over here and see if I can. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not, but this is from two years ago. All of us hanging together. So it was so it's like it's really through the that was a scary picture. Through the course of doing the conventions and stuff, I've gotten to know the cast better. But us voice actors, we were not, we've never just been Power Rangers. We've done literally thousands of projects together that have nothing to do with Power Rangers, and we're like a community of actors that are family and have been for 30 years. So do you like that? 30 years. Yeah.
So Tony Teal says, is there more shows coming? Oh, convention shows.
Yeah, I don't know, because they took all the production to Australia, is my understanding, and so we don't do it anymore.
I think you meant a convention. Are you going to any more conventions?
Oh, about the convention?
Yeah.
I just know that the one in Anaheim is the 17th through the 19th. And I think that they do them all over. I have never gone to any of those that are in other parts of the country, just because my kid's going through school and stuff and not wanting to miss things and ball games and all that kind of stuff. But my youngest is a senior in high school now, so maybe next year I'll do a little bit more of that stuff. You love the cat just getting in the way, don't you? That's awesome.
It's cute. So Richard Poilucci, sorry if I butcher your name. Can you sing Madonna as Frax? Haha. Oh gosh.
Sing Madonna as Frax. I don't know. What?
Like a virgin, touch for the very first time.
I mean, I don't know. What?
Like a virgin.
I don't know. That's embarrassing. I hope that doesn't get saved on the internet for a long time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Andrew Duggan.
Like the only Madonna thing that comes to mind. I don't know.
I don't remember. Andrew Duggan says, I prefer the Big Bad's daughter, though, but I love Frax so much. Nadira.
Nadira.
Okay. Andrew Duggan says, what was your favorite part of being on Time Force?
What was the favorite part being on Time Force? The whole breakdown in prison, the all that, the whole breakdown was real well because it was fun because it actually was character development, which is a rare thing in Power Rangers, right? I mean, it's just it's for the other than to just be the evil villain, to have a total character arc, much less from a robot, was really cool.
That's pretty much it. And hopefully you guys
so one last question is the last one. What was your favorite episode of film and favorite storyline? Well, he didn't really film; he did voice work, but
Right. And again, it would be the couple of episodes. I just know Frax's Fury was the one title, and then the one after it. Those two episodes were the most fun and the best. Where he was imprisoned and.
I think it's Dawn of Destiny. There you go, Dawn of Destiny.
What's
Can
that?
you hear me? I think the episode that you're talking about is Dawn of Destiny or End of Time. It's between
End of Time. And they put them together and called it Frax's Fury. The episode wasn't actually called that.
I know, because I know your episode where I think you were in the Megazord, your own Megazord.
Yes.
That was like before you died. I think that was that was before End of Time. Yeah, that was before End of Time.
Right. And then those were really the most fun. And like I say, each episode got a little bit more interesting because again, it's really funny. So it's like, hey, you want to come up here and do a robot? It's a couple episodes. Great. We thought that was the end of it. Then 2 weeks later, hey, I got 3 more episodes of the robot. You want to come back up? And then by the third time getting called up, it's like, it's pretty clear this is a main part. This is a cool thing. So, and then, everything about Time Force was really fun. And especially hanging with Neal and Bri and Scott and David Walsh, I think was the recording engineer. It was just a good group of people.
Yeah, and also it ended the Saban era too.
Yeah.
You guys ended with a good note. That's why I love you season a lot. And it was mature too.
Well, and it's fun that this many years later that there's people that care about it. At the time we were doing all this stuff, it was like, hey, here's a Saturday morning show or whatever, and you're just putting out product, and you have no idea what effect it has on people. And but so it's kind of like that way with any entertainment or book or stuff that can deeply affect the way that people think or look at things, and it's just kind of fun because we thought it was fluff, and then it became a little bit more than fluff. And this season in particular is completely different from all the other Power Rangers seasons. They don't win, so
I was actually in your panel 2 years ago, and when I saw the line for it, I was like, oh my gosh. You guys, the line was like the second most than the original My Morphin one. I think you guys had more people in your panel. That was there too.
Fun. Yeah, it's always fun, but I think that it's also because some of the folks have gone on to work a lot, and so it's really cool. Then there's other episodes. There's Walter. What season was he in? I had no idea. But I work with Walter all the time doing voiceover stuff.
Walter Jones?
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin. He was the original Black Ranger.
Right. And it's like I was at the convention like, Walter! He's like, hey! It's like, no way, man! Get over here! So it's kind of fun how, everything is kind of connected in a cool way. So. My phone is blowing up. I can feel it like buzzing, so people must be watching or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a lot of comments here, but well, no one's coming anymore, so and then guess we're done. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching us and watching Eddie and his doing Frax voice work.
Silly stuff. Anytime, guys, really, it was fun.
It was fun. I was already fanboying secretly. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I want to thank Clement for helping me out. So Clement, any last words?
My last word is by the authority of Time Force, you're under arrest, Frax.
No!
Oh my gosh.
It'll be yours, Ryan.
So, and then I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'm Dagger Boy. Ryan, you can find us here on our page and our Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. But finally, I want to thank Eddie Frierson for joining us. Do you have anything to say to your fans, and where they can find you?
My pleasure. Well, you can actually, anywhere. But the website for my show, where you can get me through that, because any link to email will get to me, is matty.org, matty.org. And then you can see, oh my gosh, he doesn't just do voices. So, and you'll see Kerrigan's name on there too. So it's all good.
But yeah, so guys, thank you so much, and this is a special honor interviewing you, Eddie, and time Force. So yeah, guys, thank you so much, and see you next week.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Broadcast.